What's going on, everyone? So, one of the players that these Spurs are really going to have to make a decision on is Harrison Ingram. Right? He's a guy that was drafted last year. They signed him to a two-way. He is a restricted free agent now, and they're going to have to make a decision. Do they just kind of let him walk, let him go, and try to find greener pastures elsewhere, or do they bring him in as that kind of versatile wing that they can kind of continue to grow and develop? Got to keep in mind, right? Late second round pick. He's a guy that is going to take some time. Give it a couple years and just see where he ends up, how he is. I was a little disappointed with him in summer league. I mean, he showed some signs, some glimpses, but from year one to year two, it's like, you kind of want to see a significant stride, significant growth. And I felt like he didn't really stand out. I felt like there were several other guys that just really stood out I mean, David Jones-Garcia, obviously, right, was a great example of this. Again, it's not like Harrison Ingram just looked asleep the whole time, but he was one of those guys that was just like, did you look at him in summer league and were like, gotta keep him? Not really. I mean, he was a guy that was like, okay, like there's signs, there's things that could be there. I wouldn't hate if the Spurs did keep him on a two-way, or maybe sign him to the main roster spot, right? They do have two open roster spots. Talking about bringing him in as like your 14th, 15th guy that you can kind of spend another 2 years developing and kind of seeing where he ends up. If you need to, you can always just add him as salary filler, as like a young prospect in a trade down the road or something, right? Just give you some flexibility, and kind of keep him under the Spurs banner to kind of see, how do you want to approach this? What do you want to do? How do you want to go about it? Right? And I mean, you look at him in the G League, he actually was really good in the G League. He averaged 12.8 points, so basically 13 points, 9.5 rebounds, 4.3 assists. Hey, talk about a guy that can slot in basically 2 through 3 for you. You look at his offensive rating was a 114.7. His defensive rating was a 99.7. His overall net rating was a plus 15. So guy that has and can provide, some real things for you, if he can kind of translate that to the actual NBA, right? I'm not expecting him to be a star or a superstar or anything like that, but you bring him on the main roster, kind of let him work with the other Harrison, right? Harrison Barnes, kind of see if maybe he can kind of get some stuff out of him. Maybe you bring in a Harrison Ingram and then bring in another kind of veteran guy that can maybe work with Ingram and Carter Bryant and stuff on kind of their overall games. It doesn't hurt to have another, kind of forward wing. I mean, you could argue that he's not, like, if he was like 6'9", right? It'd be kind of hard to go, let's get off of him. It'd kind of be like, hey, let's keep him. But at, 6'5", 6'6", that kind of makes it a little tougher, right? Because it's just like, you have enough 6'5" to 6'6" guys on this roster. Like, do you need another kind of 6'5", 6'6" guy on the roster? I mean, he's 6'5", 230, right? So now he's 22 years old. So there's still plenty of upside, plenty of room, plenty of growth. You've gotten off of some of your like back end, kind of guard guys. But to me, if you bring in would you rather have David Jones-Garcia right now or Harrison Ingram? Personally, for me, I'd rather have a David Jones-Garcia. I'd rather bring him in. He's bigger, right? 6'6", can slot in basically 2 through 3 like Harrison Ingram, but also I think can slot in at the 4 if you're running some kind of small ball units, give you just that versatility. You saw him kind of do the intangibles. He was rebounding the basketball, making plays for others as well, like kind of being the hub in a lot of ways. I don't really expect him to do that on the Spurs main roster, but could he be a guy off the bench in like the Lou Williams role even? A guy that's just going out there, just getting you buckets, right? That's just, making some plays, rebounding the basketball, doing some of the dirty work if he could buy in. Harrison Ingram, to me, I think if you want to keep him, I think you keep him on either a two-way again, or you bring him in to just the G League roster. And if somebody picks him up, somebody picks him up. If not, then you kind of just keep him around, keep him under the Spurs banner so you can kind of develop him and work with him specifically, kind of maybe have him be targeted as like one of the guys that you maybe in a year or so can kind of transition into that main roster and be maybe a rotation piece or something. It's just get it. Like right now, you look, okay, you got De'Aaron Fox, you got Dylan Harper, you got Stephon Castle, right? You got Devin Vassell, you got Keldon Johnson, right? And those are just guys that can slot in, either the one or the two for you if need be. And then again, if you bring in a David Jones-Garcia, he can slot in at the 2 or 3 for you. And then that's not counting the 6'8" wings that you have in Champagny and Carter Bryant and these guys. So just like, where does he slot it? Like, where does he fit in all of this? Jordan McLaughlin, right? They brought back Jordan McLaughlin, which gives them kind of that stable veteran kind of point guard that can slot in, to back up a De'Aaron Fox if need be, and kind of let Harrison Barnes or not Harrison Barnes, Dylan Harper or Stephon Castle kind of operate and play, have on guard or on ball guard duties, right? But also have that veteran that can slot in if need be, right? If things are a little rocky, kind of add some stability, kind of calm things down a little bit. I don't mind that. I'm okay with that. So it's just, again, what are the Spurs, what are they looking for? How high are they on Harrison Ingram? Like, if he came in and if he was playing the way that, a David Jones-Garcia was, right? Then it's like, yeah, you absolutely have to keep him. But like I mentioned earlier, is there anything specific that you looked at with him and was like that is why you need to keep him? Right? Did you see any moments in particular where you were like, that really stood out to you in a sense of like, that's the guy you need to keep? Right? Again, like even a David Jones-Garcia, he's 23. So he's only a year older than Harrison Ingram. And look at how further advanced he was than a Harrison Ingram. Right? So, like, even if you're looking for development, right, like David Jones-Garcia, I'd rather kind of keep and slot in, right? I think he can make a bigger impact than it. Like, I think David Jones-Garcia could actually play for the Spurs this year. I think Harrison Ingram is probably just riding the pine and in a continued development project, right? Like, you didn't really see, I always try to look at, like, what was year 1 to year 2 for Summer League guys, right? Are you clearly just the standout? Are you clearly just better than everyone else because you've had a year of NBA development and growth and experience and all that? Right? Or are you just kind of, another just kind of run-of-the-mill guy? And I kind of felt like Harrison Ingram was a bit more of the run-of-the-mill guy. He had some moments, had some flashes. You saw the defensive versatility. You saw, that he can make some plays, that he can rebound the basketball. You saw that he could be a bit of a dirty work guy. And yes, there is value in that. You need that. But I think you can just find that if it's like, God, we really could use a 6'5" defensive two-way guy, right? Like you have the assets, you have the things, like you could go and get kind of like a ready-made Harrison Ingram type of guy if that becomes a thing, like if you need to figure that out. So I don't think it's something where you need to, like, he has to be on the roster. I'd love it. I'm not against it. I'll develop him. Right, maybe become something. But if you just kind of let them go, let them walk, I'm okay with it too. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.